Hi everyone, it's Desiree, and I am here with another video with Altenew, and we are going to create and have a great time playing around with the Metallic Watercolor Pan Set that they released recently. Again, Altenew did reach out to me and asked if I would be interested in just having a good old-fashioned creative play with this product, and of course I said, sure, absolutely. So this pan set is very similar to other pan sets that you have seen. The center portion where all of the inks or pigments are sitting can be removed, so that'll give you more space to also mix your colors as well. You can see that these are not half pans, but rather full pans, technically in the size. Now, when I swatched these, I did swatch them on both watercolor paper, that's Canson XL, this here, and you can see how they look and have so much shimmer on, and basically this is ivory, it's not white. But I did want to make sure that I did this on a piece of black paper. Now, this is black sketch paper, so it's not a watercolor paper, but you can see how the results will be on the black paper and the difference between the two. My opinion, on the black paper, you do see the colors more vividly than you do on a piece of white cardstock. So when it comes to metallics, I do like to add water first. Now you can do this either with a water dropper, or you could just spray, use your mister to spray these colors as well. So what I'm going to do is, now I also, when I work with metallics, I like to work with like mop brushes. Now those are watercolor brushes, they're quills, they're very different. I can't tell you any more about them, but I just like the fact that they really hold on to a lot of water and a lot of color. So they're like mops, and that's why I chose them. So what I did was I used a die set, a straight rectangle set. I didn't want any stitched lines, and I did some cutouts. So I wanted to have both white and black cardstock with my card fronts. So after I did all the cutouts, then I put the puzzle pieces back together so that I would have the difference in the cardstock. And then on the other side, well, I'm actually putting the front down on my table here, I'm taking some very low tack painter's tape, and I'm just taping along the back, just so that these will hold their shape, and these blocks that I have will stay in place as I use the metallic watercolors. I had a lot of fun creating the different designs, whether I kept on going within each rectangle, or I just had 3, or I used 2 different sizes. You can see all of the fun different shapes that I am getting and I created when it came to using white. I'm using actually white watercolor paper, Canson XL, and I am using black cardstock. Now the cardstock that I'm using is the Stampin' Up! Basic Black. And then of course I have a piece of solid black and a piece of the Canson XL watercolor, which we'll call ivory or cream. Okay, because it's not a pure white. So there's all kinds of different things I wanted to see when it came to these metallics. Do they blend? Can they be variegated? Do they mix? Do all of these different things? Because again, will they operate just like a watercolor? So I like to put things to the test. So I'm using the aqua shade, aquamarine, and I'm starting with my piece of black cardstock. What I did find when I was using these, now you can see you've got that huge line. Now here's the beauty of these brushes that I'm using. They hold water. So I was able to go down that piece. I did not like the line, so now I'm going to come back in and see if I can smooth that line out. Can I make it more variegated? And simply put, yes. It worked beautifully. Absolutely beautifully. I'm not using a ruler here. I'm good with just trying to get that line as straight as I can using my own hand and my little pinky finger there, because again, we're here to have fun and relax and enjoy the process. So again, I'm coming in with more color towards the top, and as I pull it down, this did give me a beautiful variegated look on that piece of cardstock. So for this one, I'm thinking, okay, I can get a variegated look just by adding more color, more water. Now I want to see, will they bleed together? You know, a lot of times when we do our rainbow, you know, we start out with our red and then we put our yellow, because when the yellow and red form, they're going to create the orange. So I wanted to see if these watercolors, metallic, would work the same way. Would they interact? Now, I probably should have chosen much different colors. These are very close to each other. What I can say, and it's not showing very well on the camera here, is they will blend. They do bleed into each other really nicely. Now, when I came with this last color, I should have just left it alone, because as I'm tilting it and as I'm working it, it's actually blending together. And I should have just left it right there. But no, I'm going to come in and mess this up. So I will say they blend beautifully, but you can also see that once I had that line, I'm able to remove that harsh line. It does pick up when you make that surface damp again. So you can see I don't have that line there. I really do like the way that these work. I like the way that they work with water. They do blend together, and I will actually show that these mix together beautifully as well. So if you want your aquamarine to be a little bit darker, add a little bit of the topaz, the color that's to the left of it, the dark blue. You'll probably get a beautiful shade. And you'll see that when I actually mix the garnet, and I believe I either mixed gold pearl or enchanted gold with it, looking to have coral color. So here's where I do pull in a ruler, just to show that yes, you can use a ruler. So now I'm just going to put a stripe straight across these 3 blocks, and again, I'm crossing over the black and I'm going on to the watercolor paper. It's going to show the difference on how they look going across these 2 pieces of paper. My next color that I'm going to come in with is the topaz. So what the ruler's doing is just giving me a little bit of a straight edge to work with. Do you have to do that? Absolutely not. Freehand it. Again, we're having fun with the process and we're enjoying it. When it comes to the last color that I chose, I did come in with the aquamarine again. I really gravitated to that color. I really like it. I think it's a really, really pretty color. And I'm going to come in with the last. Now what happened was I shifted the ruler. I didn't pick it straight up. So it just made that line a little bit bigger. And that's okay. I'm going to butt up right against that topaz line. These will dry, I feel, a little bit quicker because you can see those 2 lines did not blend together. Now, if I would have added water over that, they would have blended. They would have merged together, which would have been really cool. So here, again, these brushes, again, they hold a lot of water and they hold a lot of pigment. I like to use these brushes if I'm painting a large area and I want the pigment to be saturated, and for when I use metallics. Because I want that metallic to look solid in most cases. That's what I'm looking to do when it comes to metallic paints. I do want a solid look. These brushes, since they hold so much water and they'll hold the pigment at the same time, I can get that look with one stroke. I don't have to keep going back and forth. So as long as if I mix the color and I mix enough of it, I can get one area done with these brushes. So that's why I use them. Are they necessary? Absolutely not. They are not. Use what you have. Any brush will do. So for this one, I'm going off of the two corners there. This color that I am using, and I will put it towards the top, is the Gold Pearl. And you can see I went with the Rose Quartz and the Jade on the previous card. Again, this top and bottom is the Gold Pearl. I will come in now with the Sterling Silver. What I also am a fan of when it comes to these is the fact that the metallics do level out. So you may see some brush marks, but not many. They actually will level themselves out so that it looks like it's a solid color that's going on the piece. So this is my favorite design when it comes to the rectangles just sitting within each other, looking like they're turning. So when it comes to this, I actually chose a very small amount. I'm using the garnet, and this is where I'm going to do a mix. I want to see what that looks like. So I'm going to pull up the garnet, and I'm going to put that down into my palette, making sure that I have enough, getting a lot of it out of my brush. Again, these sop up the color, so I don't want to waste too much. And then the color that I'm using is Enchanted Gold. And you can see I get this, it's like a coral. It's got a hint of that red in there, but mixed with the yellow, I've got this coral shade. So now I'm just going to use very simple lines around each of the corners to make it look like it's a piece of tape going around each corner. And then I'm going to do that same thing on the inside. And again, it's just giving a hint. Now for these center ones here, I'm actually using the garnet. So I have the one color accented with the garnet, and then I'm using the garnet straight. Now those are what I played with. Now this is what they look like. Now I still have, for the ones that are puzzle pieced together, I still have the painter's tape in the back. Now you can see it did blend. It blended beautifully. I've got beautiful variegation. I'm going to, variegation? I have a beautiful variegated look on the black cardstock. And you can see I can take these pieces apart. So from each one of these cards, I could get 2 cards. So instead of having 6, I could have had 9 if you wanted to do that. But I wanted to keep all of these together. So I'm looking now to also add dimension. And you will see those shortly. So again, we're focusing on how are the Metallic Watercolor Pan Set from Altenew work. I think it does very well. I think it is a very nice set. I think they've got some great colors. They've got a nice color range when it comes to this. When I put my cards together, this is the stamp set that I'm using. This is also, as you can see, by Altenew, and it is called Crafty Life, which I think is right about now is extremely fitting. So off camera, I took care of doing all of my sentiments, whether in ink or mainly with embossing powder. So this one, I actually kept it flat. I made sure I stamped that in my stamp positioning tool so that I could get that sentiment going right across. The black panels are all lifted up using double-sided foam tape. And you can see I just created more metallic accent when it came to the sentiments by using either a silver or a gold embossing powder. I added a gold accent to that. Oh, that's my favorite. I am done adulting. Let's craft. Yes. And then I just use the silver to accent off of these three colors. It looks like they're floating in something. I think that looks really cool, the way that this looks. This one is my favorite right here. A day of crafting is just what the doctor ordered. So again, each of the panels are layered up, mainly the black ones. And of course, yes, I put that on backwards. Yay! It's okay. It's still good. We just open it a different way. That's all. We do not start over, and we do not throw the card away at all. So I do hope you enjoyed the projects that we created using the Altenew Metallic Watercolor Pan Set. I hope I showed you different ways that you can use these metallics, different ways that you can apply them into your card making. There will be another project, of course, using these, and of course, yes, using it on a floral just to make that come to life as well, and actually using them as if they were regular watercolors that we know them to be. So, all the products that I used, as always, will be down in the video description down below. If you have any questions or comments, please make sure you leave those down below as well, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. If you haven't already, I'd love for you to subscribe and make sure you ring the bell so that you know when the next video is ready for you to be watched, and also hit that thumbs up. I hope everyone is safe and healthy through our challenging time. But remember, crafting is a way to relieve our stress and our anxieties. So remember, enjoy the process, immerse yourself into it, and always remember what is most important for me anyway. Always be creative.